Welcome to Oslo and the Nobel Institute on what turned out to be a rather warm September day. And equally warm was the music. You just heard some of the finest music Norway has to offer. Susanna Wallumrød on vocal and compositions, and Johanni Silvola on guitar. And trust me, they will be back. On behalf of the Zeitstiftung Bucerius and the Fritt Ord Foundation, I welcome you to Free Media Awards 2024. Of course, a special welcome to journalist Nastasia Arabuli from Georgia. The journalism collective Bihus.info from Ukraine. Journalist and editor Csabos Panyi from Hungary. And the news platform Absach Media from Azerbaijan. Freelance journalist Larissa Shirakova from Belarus and journalist and editor Mikhail Afanasyev from Russia are also awarded the prize. They are both imprisoned because of their journalistic work and not able to be here, a fact that in itself serves as a reminder of the very dangers and the courage we are here because of, but they deserve the same applause. We live in a very different decade than most of us expected. It was called the decade of action before it started. Now it seems more like the decade of backlash. It may seem long ago now, but let me remind you, there was a time of progress. Generations of progress produced fewer conflicts and wars, substantially fewer people killed in these conflicts, big improvements in human rights, and more democratic countries. It is true, it happened. But it has turned. Already 10 to 15 years ago, we saw the signs and the indexes showing the negative development for human rights. Within years, institutions like Freedom House, VDEM, and the Economist Intelligence Unit all measured a worsening on average of civil and political rights. The Freedom of Press Index, of course, shows the same. Now we also see more wars and more people killed in armed conflicts. The last few years have seen a steep rise in armed conflicts, also leading to more than a doubling of humanitarian needs from 2019 to 2024. And we see our own continent war-torn, and with more threats to the basic rights we so wrongfully took for granted. The heart of Europe is now part of the struggle. Those of you who have read Philip Sand's amazing book, East-West Street, will know that few places deserve the title The Heart of Europe more than Lviv. Now, in Ukraine, a country under attack from Russia. But when the going gets tough, the tough work of reporters becomes more important. It becomes more important to tell the story when the story threatens life and freedom. But it also becomes more dangerous. This year's Free Media Awards is about that dilemma, the crucial work of those who report critically and independently about war and about oppression. You guard our freedoms and tell the stories we need to understand and to act. But at the same time, you face bigger risks. Risk of persecution, imprisonment, or even your own lives. Thus, it is worth remembering these dangers speak to how threatening good journalism is to the oppressive regime also. Often it is dangerous to be a journalist because journalism is dangerous to the despot or the aggressor. The Fritt Ord Foundation is not an organization of journalists. It is a foundation that supports journalism because of journalism's vital importance to our very goal, to protect the free word. Journalism is simply crucial for societies to remain free and for the truth to prevail in a time when it is increasingly threatened. Again, a heartfelt welcome, and let me then give the floor to Manuel Hartung of the Zeit Bucerius Stiftung. Thank you.
Dear award winners, dear jury members, in short, dear friends of press freedom and democracy. My name is Manuel Hartung. I'm the chairman of the executive board of Zeit Stiftung Bucerius. And before joining the foundation, I was a journalist by training and an editor by passion. But I was working in an utterly safe space in journalism, covering science and education in Germany. I want to emphasize 3 points today, and all of those points start with the letter A. First, it's admiration. Second, it's awareness. And third, it's Anna. First, I am full of admiration, dear award winners, for your courage despite being threatened, persecuted, and even imprisoned. We want to show you, you are not alone. And this Free Media Award serves as a landmark of your courage. Both Fritt Ord Foundation and Zeit Stiftung Bucerius jointly recognize our responsibility for a free press. We have committed ourselves to supporting journalists and media organizations from Eastern Europe, news organizations who are dedicated to the truth against all odds. The Free Media Awards ceremony in this venue, this Free Media Awards ceremony is a manifestation of appreciating those who tirelessly work for freedom of information and recognizing those who fight for truth every day. And independent journalism is the basis for democracy. Democratic societies are based on a common understanding of what is right and what is wrong, what is fact and what is fiction. And this year's awards winners, they stand up for it every day. You all do existential work in your home countries and beyond. And we all are impressed and humbled by your courage. Second, awareness. Standing together for the freedom of the press, that is the message that connects us all. However, we still must raise awareness for what is at risk. In 2023, at least 555 journalists worldwide were in prison for their work in reporting. 41 colleagues lost their life. And every year we see an ongoing decline in the Freedom of Press Index. Hungary, for example, dropped from rank 23 to rank 67 within the last 15 years. We want to raise awareness of this frightening development within Europe and even within the European Union. Very different from Norway, Germany is only considered satisfactory in terms of press freedom these days. In Germany, we saw an alarming increase not only of verbal attacks, but also from openly physical attacks in the streets against reporters and politicians. Raising awareness for what is at stake, this is more important than in many of the years before. And we want to demonstrate our solidarity. Since the freedom of the press is under pressure, both at home and abroad, the Hamburg Week of Press Freedom will start in 4 weeks from now. Within this week, there will be many ways of putting an emphasis on the importance of independent journalism. Over 30 organizations are raising awareness together, and there will be around 30 events highlighting the role of independent journalism. Within this week, there will also be a naming of a square in the city of Hamburg, and this is my third point. A square for one of the most courageous journalists of the last decades. It's Anna Politkovskaya. It will be the first public square in Germany to be named after her, next to a garden in Milan and streets in Toulouse, Ferrara, and Tiflis. And we want to make sure that her work and the work of all independent journalists will never be forgotten. Last year, the Ukrainian prize winner Sevgil Musayeva, who's with us, thank you very much for joining us, said the following, and these sentences, they really stick with me for a long period of time. You said, Sevgil, quote, "The truth is hard to hear. The truth is rarely obvious. The truth is rarely simple. The truth is difficult to accept. The truth is worth defending. And the truth is more important now than ever." And I hope that these lines will stick with you as well in the following weeks and years to come. Finally, I would like to give a word of thanks to the jury members who will be introduced later on, more importantly, but also to our friends from Frit Ur Foundation, whom we partner with for such a long period of time. Thank you, Knut Olaf Ammers, Bordweger Soldel, Bente Rolswig, Hanne Vorland, Kersti Bergmo, Anneliese Songjes from Frit Ur for hosting this year's award ceremony, and I'd also like to thank my colleague Jessica Staschen from Zeitstiftung Bucerius. We will now listen to a piece of music, and afterwards, the keynote speaker, the Norwegian director, producer, and screenwriter Tonje Hessen-Skei will take the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we see so many courageous people here in the room, and please join me in thanking them.